This episode of Pod Against Evil is brought to you by That's My Entertainment. That's My Entertainment is sponsoring us once again, Travis, for the first part of this month. Our first episode back for season 3. All new and exciting. And speaking of all new and exciting, you can check out all the news and exciting news and updates on all your entertainment needs on That's My Entertainment's website. They are currently looking for volunteers to do some writing and, some work for them on that stuff. Like basically what we did for Stan. I'm sure you love something as much as we love Stan. A few of you are out there.
Probably.
That have
there are other podcasts like this.
There could be that rival the love there, and they would like to share that love and would like to share your interest in your geeky stuff. I would also like to mention, you can find the, Stand Against Evil merch, official merch at Shop Against Evil. Just type that in, shopagainstevil.com, and you will find the Stand Against Evil merch and, help support the show so that we can get a season 4. Buy the show on Amazon, whatever you need to do.
Do it.
Like, buy it for a friend. Whatever you can do. Like, now is the time. It's the grind point, guys. And with that, I think we can go right into the show.
All right.
Hi, this is Mick Ignis, and I play the Stan Zombie on Stand Against Evil, and you are listening to Pod Against Evil.
And welcome to Pod Against Evil. Oh my goodness, guys. It is season 3.
Finally.
Oh man, I am so excited. Les, say hi.
Hi, Les.
That is Les Weiler, a constant contributor to the podcast. We're going to have him and a bunch of other guests on this season, and it's going to be great. We're having guest reviewers that come on and just talk with us in the whole episode, and we have special guests coming on for specific scenes that have been part of the show, including today's guest, Mick Ignis, who is
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, who is the person behind all the
quite a few of the monsters,
a lot of the monsters, and especially in this episode, he's behind a couple of the
100% of them
the choice monsters here. Actually, you know what? I guess there's only one monster in this one. Well, now I think about it.
Oh yeah, this one there.
Well, I think they only talk about Horus, which is our new big bad. But we'll get to that. This is very exciting for us. For those of you following along at home, if this is your first time, welcome. It is a fun time. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the pod. For those of you returning, thank you so much for returning and helping Pod Against Evil get off the ground here. It has been a fun ride. But, you guys have not come here to see us just shoot the shit with our awesome new t-shirts. Plug. Yeah. Well, you have this official Stan merch of the bear fighting, the bear fights, the stuff dreams are made of. And I, of course, have the Yu-Gi-Oh! The Pod Against Evil shirt, custom. And I would like to introduce, for those of you who are not following us on Instagram or social media, it is Dr. Hoot, or Willard S. Mill, as his real name is. Dr. Hoot is our new mascot, our cute little owl, non-puzzle abiding owl. You'll see if you can...
Yeah, I was going to say.
If you can see in
hates puzzles.
Yeah, if you can see there's a little piece of felt puzzle in his beak. So, he joined me at Comic-Con, so you can see the pictures and stuff there. I'm going to set him back on our top of our Stand Against Evil lunchbox here. Man, we are just swimming in merch. I'm going to have to... Yep. How did I have him stand before?
I don't know.
This is impossible. Okay.
Good enough.
But yeah, enough rigmarole. Enough serious business time. We got to get to the episode. It starts off with our recap. Pretty long recap. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty significant.
First season recap plus second season recap.
Right. So I think this show does not do recaps a whole lot. I think we had one or two the previous season, and that was about it. So I think this might be the third recap we have done in the entire show. So it pretty much just gives you the gist of the show and the witch's Eccles, pretty much just a basic rundown. It cuts in a couple of the jokes, which I appreciate. Some of the stuff like,
do we need a new map?
Leon, yeah, I love Leon's like, we need a new map, like after the 5-star thing. Anyway, after we come out.
Well, I wanted to say it too, is that it's kind of hard watching the ending of last season again.
Yeah, well, they show a lot of the ending, the season finale. For those of you who are unfamiliar, I don't know why you'd be watching this one before the season finale,
weird.
But it got pretty dark in the last season finale, in which Stan had to watch his wife die. Like she died again, but in this time it's in person, right in front of him. Real heavy stuff. So yeah, that's where their mind's at. And then we come out of the recap, and it basically shows the last couple minutes of season of 208. And we basically get them riding in the car. They see that the town is messed up. They go into the sheriff's office and see that it's just trashed. The sky is dark. It is real end of day stuff. Or it's the end of a Clippers game. We don't know. It could be either. Could be either one. Either theory is valid.
Willards Mill definitely won the regional championship of something.
Or lost. It doesn't matter.
Or lost.
There was a game.
There was a game.
But yeah, this is where it was interesting, because I thought the sheriff's department did look familiar. And guess what? It is the same sheriff's office from Stranger Things.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. They use the same building, but we never get to see it in the wide shot.
Okay.
So, we spend, one time we spend in there, we only spend in the one room.
Right.
So, and I just did not recognize it until I saw it on the IMDb's. I was like, oh, wow, I did not see that.
It's cool. I'm terrible about recognizing locations. Like, honestly, you can show me, like, whenever they talk about Vancouver playing every city or whatever, if you can show me skylines of places that I lived, and I'm still like, I don't know, and maybe that's Denver.
I only seem to recognize the one street in Harlem, one street down in Toronto that they try and make like it was in. It was the Harlem sequence in The Incredible Hulk, and they try and pass it off as Chicago a lot. Like they use this same fucking street in these locations, and like they try and pass it off as these other cities. It's like, no, I know that place. Like I've seen it in like 7 other movies.
Fool me once, shame on you, but fool me like 1,300 times. Like, come on now.
The Hulk doesn't live there. Scott Pilgrim lives there. That's Canada.
Everybody lives there. It's rent controlled.
But yeah, they go in to try and find Leon Drinkwater in the sheriff's office,
who should be dead.
Okay, we're gonna get into that a little bit later about possible theories, because in the previous timeline when they went back in time, Leon totally died. He got decapitated. And spoiler, they did not go back in time and fix that shit. So, in regular time travel rules, Leon should not be alive in this universe. But we see that later to not be true. Ooh, mysterious. But we do see the paper that they bring up. It says Hell on Earth. And they begin to realize that, oh shit, we didn't see Claire
destroy the
last flower. She must not have before she came and rescued us, / Stan, and opened up the portal to hell, and now hell is on Earth, and corrupting the
land of living for time,
is being corrupted by the land of the dead for all time, and
I like that they keep saying the quote, but they don't really clarify, because I feel like that really comes into play later of like the land of the dead shall corrupt the land of the living, like. Oh, it's hell on earth. We're in hell now. Like, is that really what it said? Yeah, what is happening here?
What actually is that?
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting. Anyway, we get they go to the cabin to try and travel back in time again. We see the cabin has been burned down. So that was a big tool throughout season 1 and 2 for them to use.
Yes.
So we are out a big resource for our heroes, and. Now, this is interesting, and we won't get into it right now, because if you're watching, this is a spoiler, but just in case, we see a face come up and laugh. Now, last season, we noted that it was Constable Eccles yelling, saying, oh, hello, Sheriff, or hello, Constable.
Yeah, Constable.
And then he laughs. In this one, if you look close, the smoke does not quite match the last season, but we'll get into that in just a bit, because there's a different face in there if you've noticed. Did you follow along? For those of you at home,
I didn't go back and rewatch that episode, so I'm glad we're going to talk about that.
Great. So anyway, after that, we get the classic line from Stan.
Oh shit!
And opening. Man, I love the opening to the show.
It's always great.
Really gets me in the mood.
Yeah.
And we come back from the opening, and Evie and Stan are arguing over what they should do next after the cabin is burned. So
I really love Stan's reaction to it being hell on earth.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like, the biggest change I see is fewer people. Just like...
well, that just means fewer people.
A lot more parking?
And a hell of a lot more parking. And Evie's like, damn it, dude, everyone we know is dead. Like, everyone's, like, is gone. And he's like, oh, I got a theory on that one that'll knock your socks off. But 1 second, I gotta go hit the head.
Can it wait?
Can it wait? Those were the days.
Those were the days.
Oh, those were the days. That's the first thing that made it into my notes. Just straight up like, oh, can it wait?
Oh, no. Boy. Yeah, that was awesome. So Stan has a theory that we'll discover later, which is probably why he's being so glib and not really taking it all that seriously. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Evie is taking it very seriously.
She goes on a little bit of a rant.
Right. And she what's it like? I think. Oh yeah, Stan has a couple of lines of dialogue. Like here, like he says something in when he's going to the bathroom. Like, oh man, here comes the mischief.
Oh, here comes mischief. How you doing?
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Like, does he like? Yeah.
Which is an expression that I don't know if that's a thing. What is that a thing people say?
Stan's expressions are always his own thing. Like,
yes,
there are just things we know as Stanisms that are just particular to him.
All I could think of was the like half season of Deadwood where Swearingen can't piss.
He's got that inflected bladder or whatever. Like, oh shit.
Or prostate or just god.
Fighting in the Old West is hard. But yeah, speaking of some dead wood, we're gonna get some wood in the second, causing a death. Man, that was a forced transition.
That was wow. You want to take that again?
Like, I want to. You know what? No, it's live. We can't do it.
No.
We're gonna keep going. We're keep going. Play me off. What does it mean? What does it mean? Play me off.
You're stuck with it like a plank through the gut.
Zombies. Just play the zombie. Go.
So yes, Evie is upset talking to Stan as he's going to the bathroom. Tell him, like, you're in shock. It's okay. I'm not in shock. Yes, you're in shock. We're all in shock. Everyone's in shock. I'm not in shock.
Not shocked.
Yes, Stan just being his typical irascible self. And I love that that Evie goes on to this rant where she says, they have the quote here. You didn't listen to me. I told you that you were messing with forces you didn't understand. And did you listen to me? No, of course you didn't. And let's be real upfront about that. It's because I'm a woman. And before we get into more of Stan's possible misogynism, or let's face it, definite misogynism, she is attacked by a zombie. And
as it happens in the show, let's face it.
Like you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This zombie is, of course, played by our friend and guest on this show, Mick Ignis, doing a great job as this zombie. It's got an interesting design. It's like a kind of mummy, like... It seems to be kind of like decayed and like maybe one of those zombies from like Return of the Living Dead, like that sort of thing.
It actually looks like a desiccated corpse, like not rotting zombie, but like you dug this up, mummified, like the shriveled thing inside the wraps.
Yeah, it's got
only like the skin coming off in tatters.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed the design of all of that.
Oh yeah, the eye sockets are like blank, like they're just black and they're deep.
There's something about sunken, like caved around eye sockets that just extra creeps me out.
Yeah,
and so the fact that like it just looks like you just punched in the eyes, like maybe with trowels, it is super creepy to me.
Well, Mick Ignis did get hit with trowels the last episode. Maybe this is based off of that corpse.
Yeah.
But
all of their monster designs in this show are just on point.
No, I love it. We'll see some other ones throughout the season too. If you've seen the season 3 trailer, the Horus looks pretty cool. I like Horus's design. But we'll get to that. So the zombie attacks. I love the zombie attack. Evie is, like kind of freaking out, but she grabs a rock right away, hits it in the face. And I love that the zombie, I noticed this when I was first watching it, is that the zombie looks confused.
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, when he gets hit, he does this thing where it makes me look like he's confused as to why Evie hit him. And I noticed that even before we get the reveal in a minute, because Evie manages to kill it with a 2x4, like stab it with a 2x4, which is like, how weak is this monster chest? Yeah.
How strong is Evie?
Or is Evie like a super soldier? Like
Super sheriff.
Super sheriff.
Right.
Anyway,
The Winter Sheriff.
she kills the zombie, and Drinkwater shows up, which was a very big thing for us.
Yeah, just like, wait, what?
Whoa.
I do feel like the plank stab to the chest of the zombie, and like there's a spray of blood back onto her, or rather it's a spray of like black oil looking crap that she then notices is blood. But I think it was the very first episode of the show that she gets just covered in blood or covered in
Viscera.
Grossness.
Well,
and I really kind of wanted, like, when she stabbed the plank, I thought, oh, that's a great opportunity for just an absolutely ridiculous amount of blood to come out of this thing. Like it just burst across her so that, like, Drinkwater's arresting her and she's just red.
right.
And I was like, oh, that would have been a sweet callback to episode 1. But she does, I was happy that it is like, she doesn't just whack it across the head with the plank. Like, she stabs it straight through and then just gets this, like, back at her.
No, I appreciate it too. I think that the reason we see Evie a little less monster gooey is that I saw this when I was at the Build Studios when I was in New York for the Comic-Con, when I saw John C. McGinley there, and he was mentioning that how hard it was for Janet to do that first episode where she literally almost drowned with all that vomit.
No, she talked about it at the time I talked to her as well, like just getting covered in that, and like, it's like a high pressure spray.
So I think after that, I think that Dana Gould or some of the creators were kind of like
toning it down.
Like, maybe we'll tone it down and have it a little easy on Janet, so that we don't kill one of our stars.
That's also just my pet joke. Like whatever you're doing is funnier to me if you add like 4 times the volume of fake blood that you need.
Well, I love how Les's trademark is how bloodthirsty he is. But this is where Drinkwater lays the bomb drop on us, because she's like, "Oh, I thought you were dead," and Drinkwater's like, "Why'd you think that?" Because it's
we're
hell on
hell,
earth, man. Like we left the portal open. Like, is none of this ringing a bell? And he's like, "Is that why you did that?" And we cut over to what should be the zombie, but
and oh shit, not a zombie.
It is a very dead Stan Miller. And I can't believe that I didn't see this coming the first time.
Same.
I legit didn't realize it until they showed it. I was like, oh, yeah.
And when you go back and watch it, it goes like, no, they telegraphed that like a lot.
Yeah, they really do. Like, Stan's not there for all of it. He's not, like, after like the zombie shows up, you never hear him anymore. Maybe it was just fast.
It's that the scene doesn't go on that long.
Right.
If that fight had gone on for 5 minutes, or if they'd really had her like run from him, I would have had a pause to figure it out. Because you're right, they telegraph it, but I did the same. Like when she turns around, and I was like, oh, that's where we're going. Cool.
Right. Yeah. I was surprised that I didn't see it coming. Drinkwater then places Evie under arrest, in which he tells her she has the right to remain silent.
And that's
all right. Let's go.
It's a lot to memorize, man.
It's a lot to memorize. I love how Evie tries to help him out, like, right to attorney, like
even in her probably like shock stage, she's still trying to help Drinkwater be an actual cop. So that's interesting. We find Evie at the hospital later. It is the next day, the following day, at Danforth Psychiatric Hospital. It's a hospital, like, and this is great because it's the Chiron, the first Chiron we get for this season, the little subtitles here. It's a hospital, but not like the Grey's Anatomy hospital. People just work here. There's no sex. Like, I love that quote, and I love the Chirons. I'm so glad they're back. And yeah, we get not only is the hospital all up and functioning, we seem to have the whole town seems to be up and functioning, which really led me to go like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah,
like,
why did that paper say hell on earth then?
Right. And it turns out that not everything seems to be what we thought it was a little bit later. But first, we are introduced to Evie's new doctor, who is played by T.C. Carson. And
Thanks for finding out that actor's name. He kills it in this role.
Yeah, right?
He is absolutely
thanks to,
great. And he's not on IMDb just yet, because this episode isn't quite up just yet.
Yeah,
but
we only know because Mick Ignis told us who he was.
Right.
Ah, he's so good.
But I knew...
Like Keith David level good.
Yeah, he's great as this dick of a doctor. Just such an asshole. And, you know, where I recognized him is from one of my favorite horror movies, Final Destination 2. He's the teacher in that. Remember, Les?
Okay, yeah. I've seen that several times.
He's the guy that tries to kill himself. He tries to shoot himself in the head, and it comes up 6 misfires. Because Death is a complete asshole in that universe.
Oh, man. Now I want to go back, and I love those movies anyway.
Right?
He's also the original voice for Kratos in the God of War games.
Right. Not the current one, but the original one. Right. So, Les is right. He's killing it in this role. He comes up, asks Evie, like, so, says here you killed your friend with a 2x4. Other than that, how are things going for you? Take a guess.
And she's like tied up to a bed.
Yeah.
She's strapped down like Linda Hamilton style in Terminator 2. Like, just like, it feels like she's already stabbed a bunch of doctors. Yeah. Even though it's
at
only
least
been
trying
one
to
day.
bite them.
Like, and so she tries to explain about demons, and I love her explanation of Gerard Duquette. Because it's like, Gerard Duquette, he's a black magician, which TC, of course, goes,
A black man.
No, like, he practices black magic.
Oh, I see how that would be different. Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, but he's also black. And I love the look on TC's face during this whole exchange of just like, really? And it's like, what was I supposed to say? Like, a black magician?
No, you can't say that. That's
No, you can't say that. That doesn't sound right.
Well, and I love that he says, I'm here to evaluate whether or not you are competent enough to stand trial. And she's like, look, I didn't stab my friend. He was a demon. He's like, oh, this is going to be easy. It's going to be a breed.
He gives a little, like, what does he say? Like, when he's like, no, it wasn't Stan that was a demon. He's like, boom. And like his job was already done.
Yep.
And he has this great line here. Let's see if I have it written down because I loved it so much.
So, Evelyn, would you believe me if I told you I believe you? And I'm going to do everything in my power to get you out of here.
Really?
No. And I really shouldn't joke like that.
Which is such
a dick.
Which is so awful. Like, what horrible bedside
I really
manner.
shouldn't even joke.
Like, even if Evie is guilty and killed her friend, like, if it was true, like, what an awful thing to say.
Why would you say that to someone?
Like, that's an Archer level thing. Like, when I watch Archer, that's the kind of level of mean that I'm ready for.
Like, I mean, if just a change in corporate funding, and this guy is the scientist or lackey that makes Deadpool. I mean, like, it's almost that bedside manner of like, oh no, it is going to hurt. I'm joking. You're not going to be a superhero.
This is going to suck. And I think there was another line here that I really liked, which is, like, the writing on this episode is really good.
There are no guards here, and the only bars are the ones in your mind. And on the doors and exterior fencing. Guards, I'm done here.
It's just like,
so good.
Oh, I just love it. But anyway, we cut to the morgue, which Stan is laying down, and he's taken a day-long siesta after his stabbing, his 2x4 stabbing, and we find him with Gerard Duquette. And Gerard Duquette kind of lays down what's going on and why things aren't as hellish on Earth as we might have first thought.
Because they're in their own personal hell, not actual hell?
Right. So, and they find this out because Stan is like, are you telling me that Claire failed to to destroy that flower before she came save me? Bullshit. And
that lady doesn't even close the refrigerator door. Forget to close the refrigerator door.
Yeah.
Because she's afraid of the milk will spoil. Of course, me, I just call it cottage cheese, but I'm thrifty like
Shove
that.
it to the back. I'm thrifty. Yeah.
I love these rants for John C. McGinley where it's like, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, this thing.
It doesn't matter.
This is the thing I'm mad about.
The two things... Stand Against Evil as a show has always done a great job of deepening its mythology in a way that I didn't quite see, or like skipping a thing and going to a cooler direction. But both they surprised me with it not being a zombie and being Stan earlier, but the whole it's each your personal hell. I love that. And then what happens in this scene with Duquette challenging him on his faith in Claire, that they go through with it is just awesome.
Yeah, because Duquette like lays it on the line, like, "Oh, so you think this is all fake? Like it's all an illusion?" Because like Stan said, he had a theory, and he obviously, when in the beginning of the episode where they theorized that Claire screwed up, he eventually goes, "No way!"
Yeah, it's like that's not right.
And to our credit, like to his credit, the audience, we did not see her not destroy the flower.
Right.
We don't know what happened either way, and. Like, she was pretty close, so, like, it's not like, it would have taken her that much time to kill it and then come back, so he's like, oh, how much you want to bet? Gerard Duquette asks him, and he's like, let me cut your hand off. If you're right, then nothing will happen. And like, testing his faith in his wife. And I love this line from John C. McGinley as Stan, because it's like, what are you gonna do? Stare it off? Like,
yes. Yeah, no other show would go forward with this at all, much less have the main character look at him and like, I don't need to say yes. Do it.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
Come on.
Do it.
I dare you.
I double dare you, motherfucker. Like,
and it's great.
I love it because
also Emmett Hunter is still just amazing as Duquette.
Yeah.
He is so good.
I was really worried. I mean, I knew from just casting rumors and stuff that I didn't think he was gone off the show, at least in flashbacks. But with the cabin burnt down, I was really worried last season that like, I'm not done with Duquette. He's great.
Yes, and he seems to have more mysterious motives than we might think.
Yeah,
like he seems to genuinely want to help Stan with this Eccles thing. At
the very least, he's not good, but he's not with Eccles.
Right, and it's kind of the enemy of my enemy sort of thing that's going on with them.
We get quite literally to that later, but yeah,
and. I love like where he's like, "Oh man, you didn't even flinch," and Stan's like, well, "I made pee a little bit, just like I was pretty sure it was gonna work, but still, there's like margin for error."
Plus, there's the fact that someone's trying to cut off your hand. Like, no matter what, that's gonna make you flinch.
So yeah,
some way.
Gerard says that like, no one that's that devoted to someone else could truly know hell. You're just in your hell, and Evie's in hers. Mm-hmm. So that is the reveal of this episode, is that they did not come back to a dystopian future. They've come back to some sort of alternate reality that Duquette has created for them as some sort of test or something like that. And it's very interesting how they kind of like walk back the end of season 2 where it's not quite apocalyptic. Mm-hmm. But it is still kind of pretty personal for the two characters.
Yep.
I like that Duquette just straight up shows him. Is this the scene where Duquette just holds up a hand mirror? Like, explains a bunch of stuff.
Yes. Because he explains they're both their hell. Well, no, he explains Stan's hell.
Right.
Because Stan's hell is that, like, this is what you look like to other people, showing him the zombie that he is.
Yeah, you're the monster.
So no one recognizes you. There's no one to recognize your authority or do what you say whenever you say it, which we think is like Stan's own personal hell. But I have a theory on that one. What if, what if, like, how much of this episode like was the test? Like, let's walk it back to 208. What if that was Stan's personal hell? Where he had to watch his wife die knowing he could do nothing about it. Because then, if that's his own personal hell, that's not time travel, and Leon didn't die.
Right.
So that makes more sense in the timeline. So what...
And so we assumed that there was some kind of Stan walking in with Duquette into the cabin, and Duquette goes, "All right, little man, let's do this." Or get to it or whatever. he walks in with the eyes and everything, and we're thinking time travel. But yeah, maybe Duquette just
From that point on, it's actually unclear what is the test, what's time travel, what's real and what's not, and walk it back to the smoke we were talking about before. Mm-hmm. In the previous season to 208, it was Eccles mocking them. In this, you look close, it's Gerard Duquette in that smoke, just giving a little laugh. So, obviously, from that point on, it's definitely the test.
Right.
But how much previous to that is open for interpretation. So, I found that very interesting.
I mean, it would explain the whole Leon not being dead thing.
Sure. Well, I mean, people not listening to Stan, he would find that annoying. Don't get me wrong, that he would not like that. But as far as true personal hell, watching your loved one die, especially after such a big scene like that, I think that's my theory anyway. I think that's what I think was the hell of that part. Speaking of hells, Evie is of course in her personal hell because Evie is always a character about people trying to recognize her authority. She's always, trying to get this respect of Stan, Drinkwater, the town, of this, real, conservative town that seems to never give the respect she deserves. And now she's in a situation in a hospital where, no one takes her seriously at all.
Right.
No one respects her authority whatsoever. She's crazy. Why would we respect anything you say? Which I do think is a very personal hell of Evie's, who seems to be kind of I won't say insecure character, but
she is a little insecure.
She's she wants to prove herself and is very much constantly battling, with this town and trying to get people to respect her as the new sheriff, the new female sheriff, or just to take her seriously as a person at all. And it really, it reminded me of if you're a female in a job and suddenly you start acting, where it's oh, well, you're just crazy, women, that sort of thing, which is actually that's
even when they ask Stan, why do you think she killed you? And I don't know, I just kind of figured women.
Right. Which is, I think that's what feeds into the hell that they've created for each other.
Yep.
Yeah. Because Evie's Evie's amazingly capable.
Oh yeah.
But you can tell that at no point in her life has she ever been listened to in the room. And that has at some point turned into a preemptive expectation of not being listened to.
Well, I mean, just look at her ex-husband.
And so there's this, exactly. So now there's this self-doubt in this incredibly capable person, that she kind of carries with her. Because there's a lot of times where Evie should just charge in and run the situation because she knows what to do, and at her best moments, that's what she does. But yeah, she's got this self-doubt that gets pricked with sometimes by Stan and by Kenny and different characters.
Yeah, I think that her hell setup is pretty appropriate. Stan is in the middle of getting this figured out. He's trying to ascertain how he can get out of here. And Gerard is turn away everything you know, tear down everything you are, and maybe you make it out of here. Which Stan just replies with, you could have just said opposite day. I know what opposite day is.
We have opposite day. You could just... So opposite day?
Which I love. Gerard is finally kind of got enough of Stan to
I have my doubts.
And he turns into this skull demon, very much like the skull face.
Tiny, really good effect.
Yes, it's very quick.
I really enjoyed that. Yeah, and it really helped.
And I love that. I have my doubts that you know what opposite day is. To me, you are very stupid. So they. Talk a little bit more about his possible trying to get out of here and the test. We leave on the line of again, I have my doubts, which goes off into an echo, which is very cool. We are treated to Evie coming back on this on the hospital scene where she is taking her medicine. Of course, TC is back as Dr. Edmonds. I don't know if we talked about his name before, but
no, I don't think so.
Dr. Edmonds is giving her the medicine, and he says this one's a sedative and this one's an antipsychotic, and it's well, what are the other three? You won't care by the time you have the first two. It's fine. And this is where we finally get to meet where the Stan zombie and Evie finally get to meet face to face for the first time, and this is where.
Technically the second time.
Second time,
She
yes.
stabs him the first time.
Right, but this is the first time we know that it's a Stan zombie. So, talking about this Stan zombie, we're going to actually cut over to our special guest, Mick Ignis. So, we're going to be with him right after this. This episode of Pod Against Evil is brought to you by the Stand Against Evil Fan Club. Now, the Stand Against Evil Fan Club, we've talked about it plenty of times on this podcast before. So
once or twice.
I decided to get a guest speaker.
Ooh.
So we couldn't get Morgan Freeman, but we did get some white guy doing an impression of Morgan Freeman.
Was it you?
I cannot neither affirm nor deny this man's identity, just in case the impression does not come off right. But to explain to you the life cycle of a Stand Against Evil fan, or a Stan fan, if you will, it is the Morgan Freeman impression. And yes, the Stand Against Evil fan, a lonely breed. The Stand Against Evil fan does not know why his friends will not watch Stand Against Evil with him, but he feels alone, turned away by his home community. He searches vast wastelands of the internet to find like-minded kin in order to hold and share content and love with his favorite show. Just when the Stan fan is about to abandon all hope, over the horizon, the Stand Against Evil Fan Club appears. The Stand Against Evil fan will live to see another geeky and horror-related day. And now the Stan fan can share all the love or whatever they feel among like-minded individuals. It's a dance as old as time. You too, fellow Stan fan, can join this glorious community by either joining the Stand Against Evil Fan Club on Facebook or following them on Twitter at Stand Against Evil Fans. Anyway, now that we are out of this ridiculousness, let's get back to the show.
And scene?
And welcome back to Pod Against Evil. Oh my goodness, we took a quick break here from the episode, but we came back with our own reanimated corpse. That's right. Wait. He's actually a little more animated than normal. Like, not even as shambly. Oh my goodness! It's not a zombie. It's a friend of the pod, Mick Ignis. Mick, say hi.
Thanks for having me back, guys. I'm playing this reanimated corpse. He's super animated, 200% more animated than your normal animated corpse.
Mick, I am so excited to have you back on. For those listening at home, Mick Ignis is behind some of our favorite monsters here on Stand Against Evil.
Monsters.
Well, I guess that's a pretty significant chunk of them.
Percentage-wise.
Like, percentage, yeah. Like, let's run them down. Like, in this episode alone, he is our animated corpse and our new threat, Horus, which is a very interesting part.
Yes.
So 100% of the monsters.
Well, I mean, and
I play any of the monsters that they can't get somebody more important to play. So yeah, I'm in.
Right.
Totally in.
But also, you're playing double duty in this episode because this animated corpse is also Stan Miller, which is very interesting. I'll tell you, like, and this is my sort of controversial monster view here, and it's more just they're usually not that fun to play, but I'm not a big zombie fan.
No,
really? I'm not a big zombie fan. Like, I like watching them, but usually they're very, very boring to play because they don't have any sort of storyline. They don't have any personality. They don't really have anything cool to do. They're basically just kind of walking props for the more interesting humans to have to come across. So as far as, monsters usually go, zombies just don't really have a cool story of their own. So I kind of guessed that they were just doing like a normal sort of Walker type episode when I got the character Shriveled Corpse, but then I read the script and I'm like, oh wow, this is actually one of the one of the best character arcs for one of the monsters they've had on the show so far. This is so much more than just a shambling zombie or mummy or something like that. Because it is. I am essentially playing Stan. That is how this episode is kind of set up. Is that the motivations, what I'm going through, what my backstory is. It's Stan. So what a great character to be able to kind of play around with the emotional arc of.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I before we just jump into this scene in particular, I wanted to ask you, like, what was the direction like for playing the zombie as Stan? Was there any like mannerisms you were trying to capture throughout this episode, or like?
Well, I'll tell you, there were a lot of different kind of physicality things I was thinking of and wanted to play, thinking of playing with when I went into it, but the first words out of Dana's mouth when I started performing as the corpse, and this is all day one. Day one of shooting, I just went right into that suit. Was Lon Chaney Jr.'s mummy.
Oh, okay.
And that was the main piece of reference. Dana definitely wanted his Lon Chaney Jr. mummy shots. If you with the work of the man, he is an emotional ham.
Yeah,
he is. One of my favorite shots is like, him in the Wolfman looking up at the moon and like making the fist and just be like, "Damn, the moon is out." He's very he's very sullen, emotional sort of character actor. Mm-hmm. But that gave me that gave me a good starting point to play with as far as a launching point goes. But I know Stan's character really well. I love the show. I love that character. I love everything that John has brought to the table with him. So I had a pretty good place to jump off from in both that reference and just knowing what Stan's been through from that point and what the situation would be like for him. I didn't have to do much research because I already loved the show so much that it was really easy to kind of jump into this mindset.
No, that's great.
Yeah, basically just act exasperated and done with everything. And they pretty much got it.
You make Stan sound so simple. He's layers of nuance, Travis.
Yes, but he's also exasperated and done with everything most of the time.
Well, sure, but there's stuff underneath that. Speaking of which,
I think in this case, the whole arc for Stan in this episode was really the fact that he's used to demanding a certain amount of respect. Mm-hmm. From everyone in town. We see from the very first episode that, that people in town are, either have this sort of, kind of respect for him that's, a little bit terrified of what Stan might do to them because he's a loose cannon.
Yeah. Yes.
But, there is some amount of respect that when Stan talks in this town, people listen. And as we see in this episode, no one's listening to him. Mm-hmm. He's talking. He's trying to talk throughout the whole thing, but people are running away in fear. He can't get a word in edgewise, as opposed to how he usually runs in Willard's Mill.
Yeah, I can almost hear
in a way. It's his personal. His personal hell is not just the fact that He looks the way he does, that he's now one of these terrifying monsters he's been forced to fight, but no one is hearing him. No one can understand him. Everyone's just running away in fear. He's isolated. He's isolated in a way that he's been kind of putting on himself for years.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because I could swear during some of the zombie sequences, I can almost hear the zombie say, "Listen to me, damn it!" Like it seems to come across in the physical acting. But let's break down this scene, shall we? Because where we left off, Evie was just left by our dickbag of a doctor, is being very disrespectful.
Yeah, TC, who's our guest star for that, who by the way was terrified of me on set. Absolutely terrified, and I just had a blast having fun with that all day. Like, legitimately just like could not look me in the face, was like laughing hysterically. And even better, he's the voice of Kratos in God of War.
Oh,
so
yes.
So being able to terrify him on that level where he's just like did not want me in his face, and I just made sure to get in his face. That was too fun.
Oh boy, it really comes to play in the scene later because I love because there's the ruckus out in the hallway. And this ruckus is very funny in and of itself.
A lot going on.
There's a lot going on here that we got to get to. So we hear the initial struggle, and our doctor comes back, and he says, "Someone is don't worry about it. It's someone is having a birthday."
Yeah,
which is such a fun lie. But also, there's this background thing of people yelling stuff. So someone is yelling "Taylor, no," which I was just like, okay, so someone named Taylor is back there fighting the Stan zombie. And then something, a man flies across the open doorway, and just this great ragdoll effect of like, oh, and a certain name is screamed out, and we rewound this because we were like, wait a minute, did we hear that right? And yes, I believe it is. The word is screamed. Drew Carey is yelled like seemingly randomly, but I can only assume that must be the flying man's name, and someone is screaming out Drew Carey in concern. Which,
I mean, this is an alternate reality, so maybe you heard that. Maybe in this reality of Willard's Mill, Drew Carey did not get a second career boost as the new host of Price is Right, but instead is working in Willard's Mill's sanitarium.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know what goes through the minds of these guys. That could be the reality we live in at that point.
If this is a reality hell made up of the fears and things that Evie and Stan hate. Maybe Stan or Evie hate the Drew Carey show, or maybe Taylor, the guy yelled Taylor, maybe that's Tim the Toolman Taylor. Maybe they hate sitcoms.
You're stretching this a bit.
Well, Nick, I'll tell you, the only thing that will really answer that question is the inevitable fanfic of the Willard's Mill sanitarium workers that will almost definitely come out of this episode. I mean, it's practically asking for it.
What have we done?
We need it. We need the sitcom asylum. We need thank God it's Friday in an asylum. I like this. I mean, they're the real, they're obviously the real stars of this episode of the off-camera hospital workers. Yes, we need to
People love unnecessarily named off-camera hospital workers.
Yes. I mean, fan fiction will be written on less, let's face it.
But, so that was really great. But of course, Stan manages to break his way in and, choke the doctor. In his zombie form, which is a real choking the doctor. I don't know. Maybe it would be a euphemism at some point, but I love this choke. This choke is real. Like it comes like Mick, you can tell me how this was choreographed out, because it like comes from underneath like the hand, and like it really like grabs up in like an upward kind of force of like, and of course the look on our doctor's face is very just extremely terrified, which is now explained by the fact that you said he was utterly terrified of you in real life. So I'm wondering, how was this scene choreographed, and like how many times did you do this take with this choke?
Well, we did the scene quite a few times in there just to get everything right and make sure that make sure everything was lining up, and that there were a lot of kind of moving pieces to this, because the scenes are always cut shorter, unfortunately, just for time. So that scene was a bit longer. There was more of me sneaking up to TC Carson, who plays the doctor in there, and him like throwing things at me, and like throwing pill bottles and clipboards and things like that at my head. So there was a bit more to that scene of me like leading up to that, but. Unfortunately, you always shoot, way more good stuff than you're able to use in the final cut.
Right.
But this scene definitely came from the fact that TC was so afraid of me that I could actually get some genuine scares out of them. So one of the things, and I'm not sure if it was that take specifically, but it was, there were certain things that I did. I made sure that when I did every one of these takes, I did it differently. I wanted to catch them off guard. I actually, I asked Rob Cohen, our director, because I wanted to, initially I was just supposed to plant him against the wall and that was it. Like, I just like hold him against the wall.
Right.
And I went up to Rob and I said, hey, would you mind if after I pin him against the wall, I just really get up into his face and just hiss as close to his face as I can? And he goes, oh yeah, that'd be great. That's awesome. I'm like, great. Don't tell TC I'm doing that. So that's what I did. I mean, in that you kind of like see me hissing in his face and him like, like getting away. And he, that wasn't in the script. That's not what we said we were going to do. Originally, I was just supposed to pin him against the wall and just keep keep facing Evie. But in this case, I knew I could get that reaction from him, and I knew that it would be genuine. Mm-hmm. And I went for that way. And he loved it. I mean, he had a great time with it, but he absolutely vile, disgusting, and horrifying.
Well, if you see him, tell TC he's a trooper, and it really came off great because this look of terror on his face is. I was gonna say, like, man, what a real great acting moment. He looks like genuinely terrified, but now I just know that.
He was fantastic. He was great, and like when he was just laughing, just like terrified, I just like grabbed him around the shoulder. I took a selfie with him, which you'll definitely see when the episode comes out. I'm like, come on, pull it together, God of War.
boy, you better pull it together, boy. Oh boy, but don't worry. Because Evie is to the rescue. Which this was very fast. Do you remember how she got out of the bed chains? Did she just through a bout of strength rip out of her restraints?
Yeah, I mean she managed to get out of there and then hit me with the chair. Right. And Janet so did not want to hit me with that chair because she was worried about hurting me because it's a real steel chair. Oh. Like that was not a prop chair. That was a real.
They would use a plastic chair or something.
No. But what it was, and I think this is what worried Janet, because she's like, this is a heavy steel chair that I'm about to hit a very thin person with. Bob Fisher, our stunt guy, outfitted me with this armadillo back pad is what it's called, and that you can just sledgehammer somebody in the back with, and it'll take all the force of it.
Oh, cool.
So Janet hadn't worn that, so she didn't know just how well that thing worked, because otherwise you just think that you're hitting somebody with this large chair. So she gets out of there, she grabs the chair, she slams me in the back with it. I go down hard, and right after it's done, Janet's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" It's like, "Yeah, no, we're good. We're good."
Yeah,
I was imagining now a zombie screaming at Evie, "Hit me!"
No, it literally was that. I think I actually felt bad because I think it was both like. It was both me, I think like me, John, and Rob are just telling Janet, it's like, no, you really just gotta hit the crap out of Mick with this chair.
Hit him.
And for her, I really felt like she thought she was being asked to really cause harm to me. Mm-hmm. Because you wouldn't think that this thing on my back could take as much of the blast as it can, but. Well, John always gets in there and he's like, "Oh yeah, you just gotta really hit him. You just gotta take that chair and you just gotta really slam him in the back with it."
Well, also I feel like Janet Varney is such a nice person in real life, like to such an extent that I feel like she would feel bad if she hit a convicted murderer with a wiffle bat. Like she'd be like, "Oh
no, that is true. Like, that is one of the reasons that Janet is like one of my favorite people to ever be on set with, because like I said, I mean, she even on like the really rough days, and there were rough days in this outfit because the corpse was a very hot insulated one to be wearing in Atlanta. She keeps a positive energy to her, that Janet Varney sort of energy that is very refreshing on set.
Yeah, we are of course huge fans of Janet Varney over here, patron saint of the podcast, really. And if you haven't seen her new show that she did, her Fortune Rookie show, yes,
it's hysterical. Yeah. It's absolutely hysterical. So if you're a fan of Stan and you haven't seen that yet, do yourself a favor. It's fantastic. She wrote, directed, and starred in it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I have not yet seen it as of this recording because we're in kind of pot against evil mode. But once we're done with recordings and stuff, I'm definitely gonna, because I think it's up on YouTube too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can watch at least the first episode on YouTube. So I'm definitely gonna check it out. Also, speaking of fortune telling, I did not predict this move here from Evie of just jumping whole hell out the window, which is pretty good. Well, I think she sends the chair through first.
Yeah,
right?
she throws the chair through the window, and it breaks perfectly.
And then jumps out, which is great because there's this like big, sound effect of landing, like oh,
and this woman screaming,
and it's like oh god, and of course we see the we see her on the ground get up and feel like very dazed, and of course the camera pans up and it's like 2 feet.
Yeah,
which I can't believe.
Yeah, they're on the first floor, of course.
I couldn't believe I didn't see this coming. This is like the oldest sight gag in the book, and it still caught me by surprise. I was like, "Damn it!"
Yeah, which is a great moment as well, because that gave me this quiet moment as the Stan corpse to kind of go up to the window and be in that very very desperate state of I can't communicate. They're because you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier of imagining what this corpse was trying to say, because that was in my head when I was doing all that. I was letting out these guttural hisses and all that during shooting, but that was always in I'm making that sound, but in my head I'm like, Janet, listen to me. It's me. We have to, we're in our own personal hell. It's Gerard Duquette. Like, I knew what I was saying when I was doing it. It's sort of like the Vin Diesel has his own script to Guardians of the Galaxy, where I am Groot actually means something important.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was whenever I was performing or making those sounds. Is I was thinking something that Stan was saying. He just couldn't say it. Just like in that first scene where she sees the corpse the first time, doesn't realize it's we don't realize it's Stan yet. During that course I get hit, and it's definitely in my head. It's Stan going, why the hell do you do that, Evie? And it's like, okay, now I'm pissed, and just kind of going off from there. So yeah, there was definitely in my head words coming out of his mouth that he couldn't express.
That's great, because the scene ends on a great look from you as the Stan zombie of just this very put off, like, oh, like, it just makes me really feel real sad. Like, oh, dang it!
Never seen an upset zombie before.
Oh, what a bummer.
Well, I think that's where the character kind of gets to take that turn where he's pissed. He's trying to get out of the hospital once he discovers himself. You see Stan leaving after the whole Gerard Duquette scene of just kind of it's like, all right, here's another bullshit demon situation I have to deal with, and I think he realizes by the end of that he's stuck. He has no solution to the situation he's in. Janet has bailed him out in so many episodes. He'd be dead already if it weren't for Janet. And the problem, the problem here is that Stan's one ally in Evie doesn't know who he is, can't understand him. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't know what to do about that. He's completely alone now.
Yeah, I think that's a really good read on it too, because if I were to describe Stan as anything, he's a gruff, violent man, but yet also very tired and emotional. And I think even in this just one scene, we get to see all that from the Stan zombie.
Oh yeah,
which is really great. But thank you so much, Mick, for coming back on and joining us for this scene. I am hoping to have you back on for the podcast again at some point for some more Horus stuff.
Absolutely. There's a lot more fun to be had with Horus coming up.
So I'm looking forward to that specifically. All right, we hope you enjoyed that segment with Mick Ignis. It was very fun having him on the show. We hope to have him on again during some of the other episodes that maybe feature a little more Horus. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, what a fantastic guy. And was nice enough to come to the show. Thank you so much, Mick. Anyway, back to the episode where we left off with Mick was the amazing jump sequence in which the Evie makes that daring jump from 2 feet.
They even put in, before you see where she lands, they put in a little bit of sound, like, off camera where somebody goes, "Oh my God!"
Yes, and a scream, and it's like, it's just great. Anyway, Evie is walking the street and knows that she looks crazy, but yet is not doing a whole lot to...
hey, coffee, am I right?
I love the finger guns. I think the finger guns really sell that because she's just like, "Hello, small child," like to some woman with a baby, and it's like, "Hey, coffee, am I right?" Oh, and like this finger gun thing is just like crazy. Yep. But what's really great is what happens next, is because she's like, "I need to change these clothes. I look like a mental patient." So she comes across a clothes shop in which there is of course, there's a dress in center frame that is the camera is focusing on. But you'll notice there's some other garments to the side.
Just a little bit off screen.
That are not quite as center screen as the dress is. So when she hops in and she comes back out and she has the scout uniform on from which is awesome.
Which I remember just totally calling that when they first showed that scene where you're recording it. I was like, "Oh, scout uniform, got it."
And I love about that scene is that it makes so little sense because she's so much more conspicuous as this scout.
Oh, it's so weird with the hat and everything.
With the hat
and the sash,
and the sash that has merit badges on it, which is great.
Yes.
And it leads to my favorite joke of the episode.
It's pretty good,
which is coming up in just a minute. But it's like
I think I know where you're going.
I died laughing at this. It was awesome. But we gotta lead up to it. We'll lead up.
First, we have to go back to Stan for a bit.
Yes, we have to go back to Stan. Because after she steals the scout uniform, Evie thinks like, "How am I going to fix this?" Well, I'll go to where I always go, Claire's room. Claire's room will know what to do. It's kind of like the library in Buffy. It has all the answers somewhere in there.
Go back to the bunker. Yeah.
Yes.
Check the lore.
It's every supernatural show has their lair or their place they go for info, and that's Claire's room. So we cut to Stan. No, wait. It's before Stan in the Woods. There's a Drinkwater scene that we forgot about.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Because Drinkwater comes up into the hospital room and tries to figure out where, because like, "Oh man, so Evie just escaped. I wonder how she got out of here." And is looking around. And I love that Dr. Edmonds, like the look on TC's face here is just like,
he even Drinkwater knocks on the walls.
Yeah.
Like, pretty solid. Yeah.
Here, take 2 of these.
Oh, but I'm not.
Just take the damn pills.
There goes my erection.
This wins our episode prize for me, but we'll get to that later.
So yeah, it's gonna be an early admission, or I say
winnings.
Like, yeah, it was. Well, he hasn't been too yucky in this episode, but I'm pretty sure this clinches it.
Early front runner.
Yeah.
Early front runner for creepiest line. Yes.
Like the Doctor's probably the only other runner up in this episode.
So yeah. I was actually like, the Doctor was such an asshole, but I liked him so much.
The Doctor's a way worse person, but Drinkwater's just...
Drinkwater.
Yeah, it was special. And I love that, there was even the move from TC where like he moves like to the side of like, yeah, I don't want to know why you had an erection like in this mental hospital.
Although, to be fair...
Why are you walking around with that, man?
To be fair, it does not explain how Evie got out of her tied-up bonds.
Oh, well... I think she just managed to struggle out, like, when, like, shit was going down. Plus, it's like a prison of her own mind.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
We'll give it that. Like,
if she was ready to run, maybe she could run.
Yeah. So then we cut to Stan in the Woods, where he's talking with Gerard Duquette yet again. And I love this conversation with Gerard Duquette, like, because he's like, "Well, how's it going, buddy?"
I'll tell you what there, Mardi Gras. People aren't exactly dying to talk to you when you walk around looking like Frankenstein's asshole.
It's a pretty good insult. Mm-hmm. I would have gone with something that looked more like, I don't know, Jack Skellington, or like maybe the Shadow Man from the Frog and the Prince, because he doesn't really look like Frankenstein at all.
No,
like, I don't get the reference, but
I was almost thinking more Stan was talking about himself.
Oh, that's what I thought he was talking about Gerard. No, that makes more sense. He's talking about himself. Wow. That makes
and
way
him,
more
the way he normally looks really does look like a Frankenstein's asshole.
Frankenstein's asshole. That, Travis cracked
Frankenstein's monster's asshole?
No, it was, Frankenstein had a really bad,
Look, they didn't
hemorrhoid
bathe back
problem.
then.
Like, it was
Yeah, I mean,
bad.
I don't want to get into the good doctors.
Yeah,
personal.
You don't want to even know about Dr. Jekyll's urinary tract infection. Anyway, this we have here the line that I am that I might sum up Stan as a character. Like, have you ever considered every idea you've had is a bad one, and that everything you've ever done has not worked, has been wrong, which might sum up, like, I think John C. McGinley was even said that, like, the arc of season 3 was Stan realizing that he's a man that's never made the right decision in his life. So
yeah, I loved this scene.
Yeah, so him trying to change that this season is going to be kind of the arc, which I think I like a lot about the Stan character.
Doesn't Stan reply like, yes,
that has occurred to me. I like how he's very like,
self-aware.
Notice that things have not worked out for me whenever I decide to do stuff. Like,
I'm aware this is not good.
And, so Gerard comes up like, you can't fight evil alone, which I thought meant he needs to combine forces with Evie.
You gotta have your friends around. You gotta have the Scoobies, you know?
The typical line.
Because that seems to be, that's what my theory was. Stan's always fucking up is because he's not trusting Evie.
Yeah, it's that's pretty much what got them in the situation in the first place. Like, time travel. Why the fuck did you do time travel?
Like, that was the whole moral of season 2. Right. But, no, Gerard Duquette's theory is that, no, you need to find a bigger evil and let a little in. So, their idea...
Now, this seems like not to keep making supernatural, this seems like a Crowley kind of deal of hey, here's what you need to solve a problem that you don't realize I helped cause. And, I feel like Duquette's got a long game from back in, 208, of getting Stan to do a bunch of dumb stuff, like time travel or do this, or
evil doppelgangers.
Hey, why don't you try and fail at several plans that will help me in the long run? Mm-hmm. Because I feel like whatever little evil Duquette's talking about, or, bigger evil Duquette's talking about, that's not a good plan. There's no way this is a good plan.
Yeah, and you're right, it becomes pretty apparent to me, at least, that Gerard has his own motivations that are going on. He wants his own thing to happen, and it's unclear what, but he plants that idea in Stan's head, which is, I don't know, seems to me like you're getting a bear to take care of the wolf situation, and there's still a bear. It's just... Yeah. And there's no Russian to fight it.
Genetically mutated gorillas, and then you got to nuke them from space. It's the only way to be sure.
It's the only way to be sure.
You got to nuke it from orbit.
It seems like a problem that could probably snowball if we treat it like this way. But we cut back to Stan's place, and it's our first shot of Denise this episode.
Yeah.
Denise! Yay!
Wait, except for she thinks that Evie killed her dad.
Yeah, so it's a little sad. But Denise...
Yeah, no, we get the whole mantle, looking at the photos.
Yeah.
Even for the sad scene, I spent the full minute of that just so happy to see Deborah Baker Jr. on screen. Yes, Denise is back!
Yay.
And she's not on for a long time, but she manages to steal this episode because she has the choicest line that I think I have ever heard on this show, which is great. So we're going to get to it here because she hears some noise upstairs in Claire's room. And it's it's Evie upstairs trying to do some research. And Denise is quick to grab a knife and go I'm not going to let you kill me. It's no, I'm not going to hurt you. And...
Scout's honor,
which is a great joke in itself of just the sash, kind of adjusting Scout's honor, I guess. But it's followed up by this great line from Denise, which is,
"You're not even a real scout. That's stolen valor."
Which is amazing.
She says it so seriously too.
That's stolen valor.
Yeah. Oh, because like you say, the scout's honor while standing in the outfit, it's a good joke. I mean, it's like you hit the ball in volleyball and it was definitely going to score, and then Deborah Baker Jr. jumps up and just spikes it back in her face. The joke back is so right on point.
Stolen valor. I laughed for a good 2 minutes off of that line alone when we were watching it. I loved it so much. But yeah, I love this because Denise does run away, and Evie like kind of rationalizes to herself like, Denise, wait! Oh, wait a minute. This isn't real, which means Denise isn't real, which means her feelings don't matter. Okay.
Just goes on with her life.
Yeah.
But then there's a crash downstairs, and I love her immediate like, fake Denise, are you okay?
Yes, she
Fake
still
Denise?
cares.
Everything all right? And turns out everything's not all right. The Stan zombie has shown up. The zombie? The Zan?
Stombie? Yeah,
Stombie.
I guess would work best.
Stombie has shown up and is causing a ruckus downstairs. And I guess the door was locked, which is why I had to bust the door open.
I actually kind of what I imagine is that things that are happening to Stan aren't actually what Evie sees.
Oh, it's all in a horror movie to everybody else. Like, he opens a door, but in the way they see it, he busts in.
Yeah.
Like,
I imagine, like...
Yeah, because I don't think he's lurching around or anything. Like, I think he's walking normally and being like, what are you doing?
Yes.
And like...
I imagine him, like, opening a door and see Denise screaming. He probably just, like, just keeps on with his life because he's just used to her.
So we end up with a zombie face-off upstairs.
Yeah.
And cut to commercial, which I think we've cut to commercial before as well, but like the scenes, honestly, the transitions, we don't watch it with the commercials on. Spoilers for that, so we don't know exactly. Sometimes when it fades to another scene, we don't know if that's cutting in or whatever. But this one is obviously...
honestly, when you just said that, I was like, what are you talking about? I never saw it. Oh, yeah, no, that just the weird fade to black and then back up to the same scene.
Yeah. Fade black and then back to the same scene, which is the only reason I noticed it now, which is like, oh, this was obviously a commercial break of like, stay with after these messages, we'll see if Evie can get out of this situation with Stan Zombie. Anyway, they fight for a little bit, but Stan manages to get Evie against the wall, in which Evie looks into the soulless, socketless eyes of this zombie and kind of like, Stan? Are you in there? Like, can you say something? And of course, when we were talking with Mick Ignis, he was saying that the whole time he was playing it, he did have lines in his head that we were trying to say. He was trying to say things like, Evie, it's me, or something like that, but it all is hissing. It's all hissing, he can't speak. So instead, he just grabs the knife and like just puts it to his own abdomen and is just like, which I can only assume is that he realizes that the only way he becomes real to people is by dead.
Being dead,
yeah.
So I thought that he was gonna, in the last moments of dying, like as he's dying, then transport like the information to her and they were gonna get out of there. But it turns out to be a little more, like a little
dicier.
A little dicier than, because Evie somehow gets the idea of like, wait, I got an idea, like, let's go together. And like she puts his hand on the throat.
Yeah.
And the stab.
Because they both know it's not real at this point.
Right.
Like, but they're both still making just a bet gamble
it's like,
on what'll pop the bubble.
Yeah, like, let's just try committing double suicide. This will be fine.
Well, we've seen that Stan can't really...
It seems like a fucked up plan A.
Yeah, like Stan can't die, sort of. Like, he seems to be okay. We don't know what the rules are for Evie. It's kind of like if you're in the Matrix, like, or in some sort of reality, like, do you...
Well, I have a theory about that, too, because I'm actually thinking when she jumped out that window...
Yeah.
Maybe that was a 2-story window at first, and that was, like, reality fixing itself. Be like, oh, wait, we can't have her die. Whoop!
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that the reality itself is keeping her alive.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Interesting. I like that.
Because, I mean, I can't imagine Evie, jumping out of a 1-story window.
And then she lands up on her back.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God. that 2 feet was a real doozy.
Yeah.
I didn't quite catch my footing. That's interesting. I like that theory.
Yeah, that is cool. I like that. Let's go with that.
So, and then they kill each other at the same time. They snap back to the cabin, which is also interesting. The cabin's still fucked up, right? So the cabin being destroyed is real. That was not part of the illusion, or it was like a one-way ticket with the time travel. So I think time travel might be out as a source of, or at least as a common source for them to use.
Right.
Yeah, you can no longer go use the cabin for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, again, a pretty big resource that the show has used before into solving problems. So, everything is now for keeps, kind of.
Right.
Which is, interesting. And, I like that they were like, oh man, how'd you know that would work? I got the idea from you. No, wait, I got it from you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like we looked in each other's eyes and we and then they like
It's just simpatico, like
they did the finger steeple thing, which is kind of like, I guess,
yes,
and it's kind of like, oh man, we really like guessed our way out of that one.
Yeah.
That was close. Good thing that worked.
and again, double suicide is a weird plan.
Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
It sure feels like we didn't try a lot else during this episode to try and fix this.
I mean, if you're going to use double suicide as plan A, hell seems like a fairly okay place to try it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if this keeps working for them, it's going to lead to some weird decisions.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You stabbed me. I thought it would get us out of this.
Yeah, it worked last time.
Yeah, so they return home. Stan is in Claire's room researching a book on demons, and he says back the line, if you want to defeat evil, you got to find a bigger evil and let a little in. So he is researching demons as to possibly finding that bigger evil.
I love that idea. Like, I love that they peppered that in, and that Stan picks the thread back up.
Mm-hmm.
And if it, and granted, this show constantly surprises me with where I think they're going, but this makes me as excited about the third season as the trailer did originally. Like, just the idea that, like, oh God, Stan's onto this bad plan.
Yep.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of cool stories out of this.
Yeah, and I thought we had Horace in this episode, but I guess not.
That's next episode.
Yeah, I think it was in the following episode we're going to get to see.
I got a little scared earlier when you said Horace, and I was like, I've watched the wrong episode. I'm just going to sit here quietly and wait for the recap and see.
No, I forgot. I thought Horace showed up a little bit like in a thing where he was researching the demons, and I thought we got to see a glimpse of him. But no, that's for later. Who we do see a glimpse of is Gerard Duquette after Evie is sitting at home with her sheriff's uniform on and gets like this unsettled look on her face.
Right, so she feels something's wrong.
She feels something wrong. Very reminiscent of the season 1 ending where Stan is like, something ain't right when Evie was gone. And now she feels ripples in the universe like, something has happened. Something is bad is going on. I can feel Stan doing homework somewhere.
Yeah, Stan's doing something wrong.
Making bad decisions.
Stan's reading for pleasure. What
is happening? Yeah. We're on the darkest timeline. And we get to see Gerard Duquette in a fade out kind of trippy sequence, laugh a little maniacally to tip his hat and fade back into the background. And we get a very interesting line from from him after the credits roll.
Pudding.
Which
I'm so glad you knew what that line was.
We had to rewind it a few times.
So
I heard it first. I'm like, did you say pudding?
So again, we do not have the script at this time, but we rewound it back and listened to it a couple times, and what we got consistently was pudding. So,
which doesn't make any sense.
We
but
don't know.
It's not Yanni. It's not Laurel. It's pudding.
Pudding. We got pudding. I don't know. Some of you might have gotten something else. Please tell us what you think he said.
Yeah.
Because we're pretty sure he said pudding. We don't know why there was no pudding in this episode. They were in a mental hospital. I thought maybe they would serve it at some point. But then again, that'd be more Jello or something.
Right.
Like it's.
I'm trying to think if he. Now I want to go back and watch all the Duquette episodes just to see if he's said anything goofy, insulting, like a one-off line at Stan or something.
I don't remember.
I remember later Tater, get on it, little man.
Oh, they echo Tater, which is great.
Later, Tater.
Yeah. Tater.
Obviously, realized that the audience, like, we all liked that line a lot. And yeah, I don't remember anything pudding specific. I think I might have remembered Drinkwater saying something about pudding. But I don't know, but that was in a previous season, so very interesting last line. I will try and see if I can't ask Dana Gould or something if we're lucky enough to have him on. Like, did he say pudding?
Yeah, what's the pudding? Like no, questions of the show are important, but
it's all going to be like all the questions are going to be just these little plot things.
Right.
Like pudding? Is it like why was it pudding?
Like all of our little head theories.
All the no prize theories and
yes, we're gonna get the Santa Gets Evil no prize. I love it. But anyway, yeah, that was episode 1 of season 3.
Such a great starting episode.
We loved it. So, I will admit, I was a little nervous when the episode was first going on, because when I realized that it wasn't the end of the world and that it was their own personal hells, I was kind of like, oh, are we going to do the whole it's all a dream thing? Like,
a big retcon?
To get out of it?
I have enough trust total in the show that like, usually my hackles go up immediately of like, oh man, if you have just made a bunch of stuff I watched invalid, I usually hate that, like, you tricked me into having stakes and there weren't, and I get really mad. And I guess I have enough trust built up at this point with this show, because it really didn't click when they jumped back. I just kind of went, okay, all right, of course we're going to bank a different direction. That's what this show does.
Right.
It's like if you know, it doesn't annoy me if the Good Place just suddenly veers left. Like, that's what Good Place does.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Stand Against Evil, like, you know, if I think you're about to set up a huge mythology about one creature, no, you're probably going to wrap that up in the next 20 minutes and move on.
Right.
Yeah, I was a little nervous at a certain point, but then, you know, and even seeing where some of the next following up episodes go, we needed to do this episode to get everything to the point where those next episodes can happen for this the plot to go the way that it does. So
it's a lot of setup, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah, and again, TC Carson kicks it. Just is a great guest star, great first guest star, fantastic. I
want to see that guy do more. His timing and delivery is just great.
He's got a great comedic presence.
He was very.
If not on this show, then just on other stuff, he's going to be like. There's a handful of comedic actors that I just want to see him turn up in everything because their delivery's dead on, and that dude owns his scenes.
Mm-hmm. And and we don't get to see a lot of Denise this episode, which is always kind of a bummer for her being our favorite episode.
But she gets a great setup line.
But she gets the line of the episode, and of course we have to award our most vile person. Our MVP award goes to Nate Mooney as Deputy Drinkwater.
I do feel like the Doctor's actually a more vile actual person, in terms of just screwing with mental patients and stuff.
Yeah,
Drinkwater just gets off a line that makes you even makes the vile person take 2 steps away.
Yes,
of like,
yes,
you know what? I'm going to step away.
It's like
but that line is so good.
It's like TC is actually moving away so that Leon can accept the MVP award.
It's just like, I bow to you.
Oh, no. I had a good run, but obviously it's you all the way. But yeah, is there anything else anyone wanted to mention before we wrap this one up, guys?
Just I cannot wait for the next episodes.
Yes, we are excited to do them more. Les, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank y'all.
We are looking forward to having you on as well and joining us for the Stan Experience for further episodes. Guys, please watch this show. You can watch the previous seasons on Hulu. Seasons 1 and 2 are both up there. You can catch up.
And Amazon Prime, right?
And Amazon Prime, yes, also has them if you would like to buy them and even support the show more. That's great. And the new episodes as they go up on IFC, if you don't have IFC, you can always buy the season on Amazon to watch them as they air. I think they go up maybe not night of, but I think at least next day.
Something like that.
They go around. So yeah, show your sports with show and get those shovels up for season 4. If you like the podcast, you like the show, please subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher or YouTube or wherever you are enjoying us or wherever you're not enjoying us. Like, you don't have to, you can just subscribe to us on all of them and only listen to us on one. It's fine. Like,
I thought you were like, even if you don't enjoy us, please subscribe to us.
Even that. Yeah. If you hate us, tell us, like, people hate watch stuff.
Hate subscribe.
Look at me. This is a face you can hate. Like, come on. Like, if we get trolls on this podcast, I will consider us have made it. Like, you guys don't really know about Stand Against Evil. Like, that is what I want, guys. I want that argument. So come over, go to our website and tell us what you think. What did we miss in this episode? There's always so many background gags and stuff like that that I know we missed. Tell us what you guys saw. What was your favorite part? Just interact with us either at, on our Twitter at Pod Against Evil, our Facebook, Pod Against Evil on Facebook. And, you can, watch the show. Shovels up. Did I miss anything? Oh, if you would also like to buy certain Stan merch, I've been drinking out of my Willard's Mill mug this whole time. So,
I've got my bear fighting shirt.
Oh, that's good marketing. Anyway, that's another great way to support the show. We're really, trying to get those numbers up for season 4. So
that one's Shop Against Evil.
Shop Against Evil. Shop Against Evil. You can go and find the merch and stuff. But, with all that rigmarole out of the way, We'll see you at episode 302, guys, which is the Hex Files. Until then,
all right.
May the owls abide. See you later, Stan fans.